Alright guys, we're back here with another 1v1. Decided to roll out some Bretonnia. Haven't done them in a bit. Did a little bit of an experimental build here. Squaring off against the Foul Dawi, the dwarves of Dwarfland from Dwarf Helm with their dwarves. Look at those beards, those grungy fucks. I'm with, again, like a experimental build. I'm with a lot more peasants in the front line to kind of help eat up some of the dwarf fire. Went with two paladins, something I haven't done before yet, but I wanted to see like what the paladins kind of overall combat skills were like. And two questing knights here with another unit of questing knights as well, and one more paladin. So two total paladins, two total questing knights. Went very heavy on the foot squires because you know that the AP on the foot squires is really going to help me against all of the dwarf infantry. I felt pretty confident about things going into this. Not a lot of artillery to deal with, so it's always nice when you're squaring off against a dwarf opponent that's not littered to the balls with our artillery. But let's just kind of see how this plays out, huh? We'll fast forward a little bit, get to the goods, get to the action. Utilizing this little ridge here, try and negate as much artillery fire as we can. Get our peasants in a good kind of meat shield setup for the impending barrage that's coming our way. Fast forward this a little bit again. Also, just as a keynote, we did go with the Fey Enchantress as our lord here. Okay, things are starting to get into the thick of it. Look at that blasted land right there. Peasant mobs, again, really interesting choice. I haven't really used them much, but I wanted to try and give them a go. Look at this mighty dwarf line. Poised for a peasant mob rush from Bretonnia. Thunderers in the back there. Oh yes. Right as they clash in. Look at that. Just not doing anything to all that armor. But we can see we've got the questing knights on the flank here trying to get a little charge in. Cannons at close range starting to open up with their organ guns. Those do have AP as well, I believe. Let's double check that. Yeah, AP on those. We did have a funky engagement here, right? So because of this little crevasse, one unit of foot squires ended up getting kind of caught out, and this unit that I wanted to have started over on this right flank more got pushed out a little too far. It took them too long, and this unit of questing knights got caught by a unit of just dwarf warriors and all the muck. But we do have this unit in the back here. Kind of starting to. I charged them in mainly to just kind of pull attention off of this flank, so we could start moving stuff around. Big issue here though. Clumped up real hard. That's going to make it so half, if not all, of those foot squires are completely useless. As you can see, I realized that after I had foolishly made the charge. I had gotten stuck microing these guys and mucked up here. But we got this unit of slayers, going to start cutting them around. Got some peasant mobs retreating, but again, not as worried about the peasant mobs. They're not there to be mainstays, that's for sure. Oof, organ gun just peppering units. Look at that. Let's watch it happen again. It's coming real soon. Got those questing knights in the back doing a charge on the organ gun. Oof, right in the last second there. These squires actually really holding their own against these dwarf warriors. This paladin trying to get in here. He had two units of slayers, or I'm sorry, one unit of slayers that was really kind of harassing me. And it got to a point where I was sick of dealing with the micromanagement of the questing knights, which was unfortunate because they just weren't. I wasn't utilizing them properly, so I felt like I just was like, okay, well, I'm going to abandon hope on these and try and keep my main line in order. A Fey Enchantress, you know, in retrospect, now that I think about it, not going to be as beneficial against the dwarves just because she does provide that magic damage bonus, but that's not going to be as huge against the dwarf army. But just a mighty Thorgrim here on his Toilet of Doom. No Rune Lord action going on. But I wanted to get my paladins into the fray here, because paladins are quite the melee experts. This line's still holding pretty strong against the remaining questing knights as they've now fled off. Right there and there and there. These two units squaring off against these foot squires. I was having a bit of an issue with Winds of Magic here. I didn't have a whole ton of it, to be totally honest. I was casting healing spells probably very improperly this whole game. I got stuck in the micro of the game without executing on the micro of the game, which is kind of the worst place you want to get stuck in the competitive landscape. You don't want to sit there spending all this time microing on units that just end up not converting for you or getting your points worth or anything like that. Big issue here too, I've got Fey Enchantress just completely surrounded. But I am liking the Paladin's damage output. I mean, like, look at them just beating on Thorgrim's shields like the drum. Trying to get them to path through there, push into him. He's surrounded by foot squires as well. My Fey Enchantress is totally surrounded. She's just bolting off little bolts here, shooting off little bolts here. I mean, even with all these errors, the balance of power is still greatly in my favor. That's something to note. Thorgrim coming down to his final last stands, or final last vestiges of health. Peasant mob starting to come back. Got them trying to get a little rear charging in. And we have the mighty Thorgrim who's been toppled from his toilet of doom. And for this game, error number 543, Peasant Mob charged right in here, and I bunched them up, just like I did with the Foot Squires. If I had spread them out over here and here and here, we would have had a much better chance of getting more flanking charges, more leadership penalties, all sorts of goodies. His units, for the most part, all beaten, a lot of routing going on. Fey Enchantress, though, is not in good health. Those Slayers are starting to really hack her up. Grail Relic's about a half health as well. He knows what to target now. And the Runesmith is definitely very beaten. He has another Runesmith that's already routing over here, just starting to come back from routing. He's wavering indeed. But the Paladins are definitely starting to pour some damage on that Runesmith. Balance power still in our favor here. Large contingency of peasant mobs are getting wasted. This unit of Foot Squires having fled, now coming back. The last of the questing knights alive. But as you can see, this whole unit of peasant mobs isn't doing a damn thing. And we still have that Runesmith being beaten down. The other one coming in. Ideally, you know, I'll say I probably should have had these Paladins switch targets onto the other Runesmith. But Fey Enchantress, boom, dead. Huge blow. Huge blow. The balance of power definitely starting to shift now. Little by little, as things start to flee more and more. Trying to get these Runesmiths down, get any kind of leadership bonus we can. The Paladin's still not in bad health, but not in good health, but not in bad health. But more charges coming, more of his units starting to come back from the grand rout that was. Holding on for dear life here, trying to get those Runesmiths down. Right there, almost dead. Look at that. Look at that health on that one. I can tell you that, in retrospect, I thought I was clicking on that Runesmith. I was actually clicking on these Slayers. So they were switching target to the Slayers from that Runesmith. And I can also tell you how furious I was at that. Ooh, a little Runer Negation coming in. That damage buff really going to help him out here, as all that's pretty much left is this one Paladin. Grail Relic is, for the most part, starting to waver and break off. All my units are fully routing at this point. And really close call here. It was a very messy fight. I should have definitely, I mean, just kind of going into some of the big errors that I know I made. Initially, the peasant mob rush in front wasn't a terrible idea at all. But the subsequent lack of positioning on my Foot Squires was any bonus that I got from the peasant mob was completely negated by that. The poor micromanagement of the questing knights made it so that all 1,200, or I'm sorry, was it 12, 24, 3,600 points that was spent in the questing knights was completely wasted. 49, 63, and 20 kills is not that bad, to be totally honest, but I feel like they could have been used to much better effect. I mean, looking at his line, I mean, his Longbeards at 118, 113, 129 on these Longbeards, 176 on these Longbeards. They were really, really holding the line strong there. And those Slayers still doled out quite the toll on my army. But overall, I do have to say the Paladins are really fun to use. I like them kind of as, I guess you could say, melee assassins when you're not using Leonker. I definitely enjoyed their dynamic on the battlefield. It was really cool to kind of have them leading the questing knights too, like I would personally use in tabletop. I would have my Paladins with a standard leading one of either a Grail Knight or either a Questing Knight in the tabletop. So it's really cool to use them in that same iteration. Also, one of the last things I think that really kind of put the linchpin in for me was the peasant mobs having rallied, and then I blobbed them up. So if I had actually rolled them around to the side of the dwarf unit, they totally would have completely fled, because it would have been such a stacking bonus. Such a stacking leadership penalty. So that's this game. I know there's quite a bit stuff that went wrong. I know I haven't really posted a Bretonnia win in a long time, but I definitely want to show you guys even these losses, so you can provide more tips for me to help me get a little bit better. I know some of the stuff that was already kind of done wrong here, but if you have other things that you saw that definitely would have helped out here, or even in a army composition, let me know. I had shifted this away from Battle Pilgrims and heavier into Foot Squires, and I used those peasant mobs to absorb what I thought was going to be more of an artillery presence. So let me know what you guys think, or what you guys are using for Bretonnia against Dwarves that you found very effective. I'd love to make some little modifications here and there. But thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and take care.